we decide on the name yet? Or like the studio name? Sorry.
Oh no, we haven't.
Were we gonna go the Paddock?
I do like the Paddock.
I thought about Pit Wall.
Pit wall could be like a talk that we, like
No,
a certain segment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm digging the Paddock.
I think it should be the Paddock.
Okay,
cool. I do.
Live from the Paddock.
Here we are.
F1 America.
Welcome. Thank you.
Pretty amped up right now. I drank that energy drink like at 12 o'clock today. So I thought I was gonna wear it off by riding, but I guess not.
Or we can wear it off by talking.
Yes.
Like, tire you out.
Sweet.
So what's up, guys? Welcome to F1 America. Here with my boy Tristan Nelson.
Howdy. Very excited to be here. Thanks for bringing me in. I'm very excited about this whole project, and we'll see where she goes.
Yeah, I'm Derek Hutchins, and we welcome you guys, man. We're super excited just to start this channel and kind of just see where it goes, right? Formula One is really starting to take off here in the US. And so we thought, hey, like we need to be the American ambassadors for Formula One.
But yeah, a lot of other countries have a lot of good ambassadors. There's only like one or two. I know F1 Ellie is big into the F1 scene. She's like a big ambassador here. But when it comes to everyone else, like every other country has some type of ambassador. So I feel like we can maybe fit that mold and we'll just go from there.
We're going to bring our stellar personalities and, you're either going to like it and vibe with us or you're not. And that's up to you. So like Tristan, what got you into Formula One?
Yeah, so it started with COVID. My dad told me to watch Drive to Survive and how crazy it was. And I come from racing motocross, so you just love everything with wheels and a motor, right? So started watching Drive to Survive and how crazy it was, how kind of like savage, for a lack of a better term, was like if you're not performing, you're getting cut. So that was really drawn. Of course, the ladies love all the good-looking guys in F1. There's no bad-looking guys in F1, which is my wife got really into that. But no, we're both actually really into F1, and my brother-in-law is really into it too. Now we kind of all just bench race and send each other memes and stuff like that. So then I'm trying to think, that was 2021, I believe. Maybe 2020. 2020. Okay, so that was COVID. 2020. Watched Drive to Survive. Then I got really into the actual live racing. I was waking up at god awful hours, and then ever since I've been just hooked. And so I think I'm now 2.5, maybe 3 full seasons.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So then just watching all the drivers, obviously you get really attracted to certain drivers and their comedy and their personalities and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's how I got into it, was from Netflix, and then now in just being naturally attracted to racing. Yeah. So it was kind of the 2-for-1 special there for me. How about you? How'd you get into it?
So I'm a huge car guy. Love cars. Love everything about cars. And I'm a huge European Top Gear fan.
Okay.
Like through and through. I've seen every episode probably 5 times.
Okay.
And there's 30 seasons, right? Like it's huge. So I'm
pretty sure that's on Netflix too, right?
It is.
Okay, cool.
Or Amazon Prime too.
Got it.
And then there was some drama there. So actually the 3 original commentators are now over at the Grand Tour.
Okay.
It's dope. I love it. So I got into just really watching that, and then my boy Lewis Hamilton was featured. I believe it was after his first world championship. Okay. He was still real young. I want to say it was like 2009, maybe somewhere around in there.
I think I saw clips of that.
And so I was watching it at that time, and I just I fell in love with that guy as a person. It was like, oh, that's really cool. I loved just kind of his vibe, and then since I've followed him really, really heavily since that time, Instagram and all this stuff. And so more or less it was just kind of, he was the only one I really knew, right, outside of like Michael Schumacher and things like that, right? Which is also came out later on that he was the Stig on Top Gear.
Oh shoot, I didn't
young kids. So we're gonna have to get him into Top Gear, so he knows. So basically the Stig is like this, the epitome of race car driver for that show. but nobody knows who it is. He like just wears a all white racing suit.
Yes, I remember seeing the clips of it when they revealed him and stuff like that. Obviously, because Instagram, like whether it's Reels or Instagram popularity and stuff like that. So I know what you're talking about now.
So that's kind of like what got me into just being excited about Formula One. I was never a huge NASCAR fan. Sorry, you guys are gonna like rip on me.
Rip on both of us because I wasn't. My dad took me to a couple, and it's cool to be there, but it gets boring going left.
Yeah, and I mean that's it, right? Like I am a really big fan of just driving.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love to drive. I love to feel the road. I love cornering and different, just the performance and being able to extract what you can, like from reading the road and feeling the car. And I think for me, I connected with Formula One specifically because there's so many different variables.
Got it.
Right. And I know there's a lot, and NASCAR's cool and all that, but we're starting this channel because we like a different type of racing overall.
Yes.
Right. So that's really kind of what got me started in. And then, Drive to Survive fucking hit me too. And I just, already was into that racing over any other type of car racing. So I followed it loosely, and then I just didn't want to buy like a membership, or I didn't want to, I haven't had TV since I was in college and the dorm, so it was like always just streaming stuff.
Got it.
Drive to Survive, boom. And then I started watching all of those, loved it, loved the drama. I felt like finally I know more than just Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
And so then I was like, fuck it. I bought just an F1 Live. Like I have a yearly subscription. I can watch all the races. I watch all the practices. Like I replay. I nerd out on everything.
That's where my next step is. I need to step up in there. Dr. Feelgood has joined us, aka Zach. Thanks for joining us, Zach, on Twitch.
Jack? Dr. Feelgood.
He loves to troll me with Lewis Hamilton. We can't even go one episode without getting into controversy about Lewis Hamilton. But
is he a fan or not a fan?
I think he has like mad respect for him. It's not that he's not a fan, but it's just like you have to respect the guy because he's done a lot, and he's definitely legendary in the sport. I won't knock that. I think he's great talent. I don't have anything necessarily bad to say about him. I'm not attracted to him.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Like how I'm not attracted to his personality.
I mean, I don't want to have sex with him. I just
Right. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of guys that we could figure it out, but that will probably be a segment later on once we get some more traction on who would you hook up with an F1?
Oh yeah, what's the trendy thing, like marry, fuck, kill?
We could marry, fuck, kill, and figure out which one we're gonna keep and get rid of. We could do that. That could be a segment at the end today. Let's keep we'll do a marry, fuck, kill at the end of the episode today. I mean, okay, so let's go with just a couple quick questions. Who's your favorite team then? I mean, I think I can answer this.
I mean, you guys already know, like Lewis Hamilton really got me into the sport, and so he's definitely my favorite driver. I'll do my best to be really I like other drivers too, but I'll try not to be just totally biased.
Okay.
All right. But I mean, with that being said, like he's my guy, right? So definitely a big Mercedes fan.
Okay.
There's other teams that I really like.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few teams that I used to like and don't really like anymore.
I could agree with that.
Like just, varying degrees. Not like there's not any team that I'm like, oh, fuck that team, I hate them. Like,
right. Probably should have preference this whole episode too. There's definitely going to be some curse words going. So if your children are around, either get them used to it or not sorry.
Yeah,
but
we'll be like, this is not children edited.
Yeah. That's why we're on Twitch. That's what we'll be on YouTube. Yeah. We'll have the rated teen for teen or MA or whatever rating
your audience
square in.
Which F1 driver are you gonna fuck and kill? Like, yes, definitely
not
for children.
Saying that we
might get canceled.
Yeah. Oh shit.
We're not actually gonna kill anyone or fuck anyone.
Yes. We might. Clear. Hey, I might marry one though. I will marry one really quick because there's some money involved. Okay. I guess too far
out. Done. End of episode.
Right. I guess my favorite team all this like last 2 years has been McLaren. I like Lando Norris. I like Daniel Ricciardo.
Yeah.
The wife loves Daniel Ricciardo.
So it's now sad news for next year.
Yeah, no, it's we're kind of on depression watch right now with DR kind of getting shafted. I think there definitely could have been some things that could have been probably different on all parties, right, in that situation.
Yeah.
I think that DR probably could have done obviously his performance wasn't always there, but like at the end of the season, man, like Mexico, he was like killing it with 5-second penalty, and he still drove the wheels off that car.
Yeah.
And just like, okay, you see him have drives like that, and he gets that first win for them since I think Lewis Hamilton, right? So like,
yeah, I think so. Right.
Like, how do you get rid of him? I think Lando's consistency is obviously what saved him, but
yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about at some point is Lando signing a 4-year extension. It was 4 years, right? 3 or 4 years. Definitely want to get in.
2024.
Yeah, I want to get into that at some point. Which I just think is like crazy for such a young driver to like do something like that. I think in other sports I could totally see something like that happening. But
what, Max just signed one until 2028 or something like that?
I did not see that actually. I need to watch that. Yeah. I know he said that I did see a comment that he's like after he leaves Red Bull, I don't think he'll keep racing. But I think if there's a check big enough, he's gonna take it.
Yeah, but I mean also I don't know that any other team is gonna give him such preferential treatment.
An elite team, yeah. Oh, I mean, if it comes, maybe if he went to like a Ferrari,
maybe, but I don't.
He's not going to Mercedes anytime soon.
No,
I don't imagine. Oh.
Unless you're on my F1 season right now on the game,
yeah,
dude, he totally. Because I stole Lewis, he's my teammate. So fucking Max is over at Mercedes with George. Like, yeah, that never happened.
Did you see? Totally off topic or off track here, but the hypotheticals on which drivers are going to be on what team. Did you ever see that list, like roster? It's like 2025 drivers. There's one that showed George Russell at Mercedes and DR at Mercedes, which he looked like it was going to become true.
Yeah, he was going to be the backup.
Yeah, and then obviously went back to Red Bull. And then it was showing a bunch of different people. I think DeVries was in there. Sargent wasn't even on the radar yet.
Yeah.
Who's the other kid?
Well, DeVries has a ride.
Yeah,
he's got to drive next.
Alpha Tori.
Or was he... Let me look at my notes.
Yeah, check your notes.
Yeah,
AlphaTauri. That's what I thought.
And because Pierre's going to Alpine.
Yeah. Then
because Fernando's going to
Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious how he'll do there, and him and Stroll, I don't think we'll get along.
I think they're both kind of babies, honestly.
Yeah.
Like they both kind of have the same attitude of like, I don't know, just whiny.
Yeah. I guess, and just kind of getting into the bench racing side of things, the comments that Ocon was saying about Alonso the last couple weeks, like he's saying like he didn't do anything, he didn't do shit, I did everything, he just drove.
Well, we had a conversation about that too.
Yes.
Like how much of that is like, I'm sure some of it is legit, right? I mean, Alonso's got a ton of experience driving, so it's not like he has to put as much time in to understand what's going on with the car,
right?
So he can probably feel it out a little bit differently and be able to kind of let them know his thoughts very quickly because he's got so many years.
Yeah, right? And I mean, same with all those seasoned drivers on each team, right? Like each team, maybe minus Ferrari, has a pretty seasoned driver. I feel like Ferrari's team is relatively young speaking. Yeah. Like Charles has been around a while.
They're the youngest Ferrari team, I think, ever.
Yeah, and like, Carlos has been around a while. They both have experience, but they're necessarily not like Vettel and Stroll or Sergio. Sergio and Max is a pretty old team too, actually, because Max has obviously been around a little bit, but Max is on the younger side.
Yeah. I mean, isn't Max and Charles? I'm pretty sure they're almost the same.
Yeah, they came up at the same time, I'm pretty sure, or maybe a year difference. So... like you got the Alonsos, the Hams, the Vettels, those guys, and then there's always like a young guy next to them. So it's like
right. That's usually how the team kind of operates, right? Although there's a lot of shakeups next season.
Oh yeah, we should just dive
everything, right? So we already talked about Gasly moving from AlphaTauri to go to Alpine.
Yep.
Right, taking Alonso's spot because Sebastian Vettel retired. Sad legend. He's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you wish he would have had a little bit more luck.
Yeah, I do. I don't think it's his driving. I think Aston Martin just didn't perform to the peak that they wanted to.
That, I mean, I would even say too in Ferrari though. I feel like the last year Ferrari didn't have the greatest years either. And I don't know if it's because of car. I don't know if it was because
remember they were caught cheating. I want to say in 2019. Like, don't quote me on the year,
right?
But something with the engine.
Okay.
So their penalty actually, I think, stopped this year. So I think they had a two season penalty where they actually had to decrease some type of performance.
Okay.
Like they had something.
Like kind of like Red Bull's gonna have with their because they're cost cap, right? They're getting
I don't
they're
know.
getting docked on
Well,
aero time,
yeah,
double
but
time.
aero time, what does that really equate to?
I mean, I've read some stuff. It's like honestly, the amount of aero time you get could really depend on like you could. That's a couple seconds.
Yeah, but how much aero time do you think? Like they were second in the championship last year, right?
Mhm.
So the aero time is based off of the last team gets the most amount of time,
right?
and the leading teams get the least amount. So how much time, like placing second, how much did they really get anyway?
Right,
Their
right.
car was just way more developed than any other car this season.
Gotcha.
So I think that Christian Horner is really good at playing it up to be like, oh my gosh, I can't, but like this is such a hard, and really he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it this season too.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, and I think I mean, obviously, following Mercedes a little bit more, it's like Toto Wolff. I think it kind of sets an unfortunate precedent to the rest of the field, right? Where it's like, oh, okay, well, this huge thing is not really that big of a disciplinary action.
Mhm.
So what's going to stop us all from just going over next season? And then you're going to get back into the same thing we had before the cost cap.
Right. The elite teams are always going to be elite. The
Yeah.
lower teams. I think this car this year made a big difference for the lower teams. Like look at Haas is seventh now, right?
100%.
We talked about that and on his offline, but Haas, that's gonna be huge for Haas, and I hope Haas continues to kill it next year.
American team, baby.
Yeah, American team. That's right. That's right. You got to support the boys, even though we don't have any American drivers on that team. But
we do have an American driver entering.
Yeah.
He's gonna be with Williams. Logan Sargent.
Yeah. I first heard about him from another group chat I was in. My buddy sent it to me. He's like, "Oh, I hope Logan Sargent gets in." And this was like maybe a month or two before they officially announced it that he was testing. He was waiting for the super license.
Yeah, because he tested in 21.
Got it.
2021.
I knew what you meant.
He's probably not even 20.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be sick to see. I'm obviously going to root for him. I don't know much about him. I mean, I think he's got great hair.
I think he placed 4th last year in Formula 2.
Okay.
Which I think is kind of interesting to have. Like, usually you're like the top 1 or 2 coming in.
Yeah.
So to place 4th, I don't know the rest of his history. Maybe he's got like a lot of consistency, something like that with a team's going to be like, look, you know what? Like this kid's going to bring it. He's involved with Williams Racing School.
Okay.
So they're kind of bringing him up, which also means he's tied to Mercedes.
That'd be fine. As long as he gets Hamilton out of the seat. Personally. We're going to have a lot of hot takes. We are.
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I think we got to have that controversy.
For sure. For sure. It's not, and I think Toto's actually a really funny guy to watch and listen to him talk, his mannerisms. I think he's super smart. Don't get me wrong. I just love watching Toto and Christian go at it. I feel like they totally, I don't know. I feel like for the TV, they act like they hate each other, but in real life, they'd probably go get beers afterwards.
Maybe. Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think everybody goes and gets beers because obviously you saw everybody was at dinner for Vettel, the last race, right? And then the other thing was, when Max won the title, everybody's out partying on the yacht or whatever, that club or whatever it was. Lewis might not have been there.
I think all Mercedes didn't. I think they like boycotted everything.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I'm pretty sure that they did.
That makes sense. I do remember seeing like almost every other driver though on the clips, and Max was just actually obliterated at the first year. Not this year.
I'm still super upset about that. I'm still like just royally pissed.
We should finish talking about God damn it, Zach with his George Russell.
What? Let's hear it, Zach. What
he said? George Russell P1 just to troll me, but he knows I'm not a big.
Because you're not a big fan.
I don't like George. No.
Okay, what about George? Like, what kind of turns you off about him? What don't you like?
So I think Mercedes gave George a lot of hype, right? Which I know Williams was a Mercedes basically driving school or farm team, essentially, for lack of a better term. Do I think George has talent? For sure. Do I think he deserves a Mercedes ride? No. I think there's plenty of other guys that they could have picked up. They could have snatched somebody up from another team, whether it's a Lando, not biased because I like Lando, but like it could have been a Lando, it could have been it could have been Pierre, it could have been. There's so many other guys that they could have snatched up.
Yeah.
Do
you think because Williams in the past few years has not been like a top leading team, say like McLaren, right? So you think you'd rather have like a McLaren driver graduate into like the top car or a top car instead of a midfield, instead of like somebody from the back going up to a front car? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yes and no. So like I totally think you give a guy that has talent a good car, he'll perform.
Uh-huh.
Kind of same thing with motocross. Like there's so many kids out there that are super fast, but they just have shit equipment.
Yeah.
So like if you give him good equipment, it'd be one thing if he was out, he was top 10 every race and whatever. There's some races like George was not doing shit. He's driving, he's not as bad as Latifi by no means, but like driving like their car, because their car was shit too though. So they're driving around in the back. And he just wants to keep talking shit about how he got a lucky qualifying time at Spa. Yes, he got that time at Spa, but also it poured rain after he's the only one that got a lap. I mean, nobody else could qualify, but good for him. He capitalized when he needed to. I think there's a little bit of bias in there too, because Toto obviously manages George.
Yeah. But you got to remember too, a big part of Formula One is it's all politics.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's who you know, it's how much money you can bring into the team. It's like there's so much more that goes into being a driver, especially for the lead teams, than even like just being a good driver.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, it's all about being a good driver, networking, politicking your way a little bit for sure. The one thing I would say too is that I think there's obviously so many drivers. It's all about how you get there and who you know. I think Alex has done great with the Williams car this year.
I was really happy to see him back.
Yes,
in the
for sure.
Because I just have a lot of respect for him. He's just like really kind nurtured, and like that really hits home for me.
Yeah, and you could totally see like he deserves to be there. He did a lot of really good things. He had really good drives.
He's like come from nothing, right? Like
I
mean, some of them do, right? Like,
I mean, I know Lewis's story. He says he came from nothing, racing go-karts.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think his dad had like 2 or 3 jobs to support
fund
him,
it, right?
You know, so I think that's another reason why like Lewis is a big advocate for me, right?
And now that he calls it the Billionaires Club, like Latifi, obviously he's got money coming from somewhere because he shouldn't have been there the last 2 years.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and
Lance Stroll.
Yeah, Lance Stroll too.
Although I will say he's improved a lot since like the first couple of seasons of Drive to Survive, where I was like, oh, I couldn't stand him. He was like so, and I know I said it, he was whiny earlier. But I think he's matured a lot compared to that Lance Stroll.
Right.
Now, do I think he's good enough to really be in Formula One, like competing at that level? Not necessarily, but I mean, he did beat Vettel a little bit.
Like, no, there's
definitely not performing
for sure.
So, and I'll say George too. Like, I mean, as much as I love Lewis, George outperformed him most of the season, and I mean, obviously finished, you know, beyond him,
right?
In the final standings. But
and the reason why we say George drove so good, or we see like a lot of my friends say it, like he's used to driving a shit box. So Mercedes started with a shit box,
right?
And so he was able to adapt. And Lewis is kind of stuck there, like I don't know how to drive this pile of shit. Like, what am I supposed to do?
Because he's used to something so much more refined,
so elite, and like so good. And so to see him do well this year, it was good to see him like actually live up to the hype of getting into that car. It's not like he flopped and he was in 10th every race.
Well, and like, hey, last season, right? He almost won Abu Dhabi, right? Or not Abu Dhabi. No,
Spot, right?
It was a comp. No, it was another desert race. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, the one where he filled in.
Yeah, it was COVID.
Yeah.
And so, what race was that? Then?
That's the one Zach always brings up as well.
Like, I mean, didn't he out qualify Bottas, or did he?
I know they did really well. And then he had a mechanical, I thought. He was like leading most of it, or he was up there. He was like in the top 2 for sure. And then he had a mechanical. So yeah, there's definitely potential there. And that great drive helped him get there. There's just like, there was a lot of times too, like that he could have, or like his Williams drives, I felt like didn't deserve the Mercedes drives. That's the only thing. So yeah, I'm not going to touch it. Brandon, like, leave me alone. Sorry if you're watching this, but
yeah, maybe watch and stop calling.
Yeah, stop calling me.
Comment on that.
Thank you. Yeah, if you need to get a hold of me, please put it in the comments.
Comment on the Twitch stream. Don't just call us.
Yes.
We're busy.
We're recording. At the end of the day, like George definitely proved himself this year for sure. Still not a huge fan of him. He's grown on me. I will say that he's grown on me. Lewis is still kind of like whatever, kind of wishy-washy for me because of. I feel like sometimes if it's not going his way, he kind of whines a little bit. And like one race, he'll say, "Oh, my tires are ass." And then the next race, he's like, "Oh yeah, dude, I'm on 40 laps and my tires are great." And you're like, "Bro, every other race this year, you've been crying about tires. How all of a sudden are you Sergio Perez?" Like, so that's like little shit like that. Does kind of get me like, what the hell?
Well, I'll defend, right? There's so many mind games in the sport, right? And when you're in the car, whatever you say everybody's listening.
I don't like
You
that.
know, and so
yeah.
it's part of the strategy,
Mhm.
right? So I get it. It is kind of annoying, especially as like somebody watching. We're like, oh shit, you know, because I'm like, oh shit, his tires like, oh fuck, you know,
Yeah.
they're gone. And then like he just cruises, he's setting fastest laps, you know.
And
And you're like,
he's been on the tires for 10 laps.
oh, and
Like,
so that's kind of
cried. And
that's kind of his he's known for that, right? The last
Mhm.
couple of seasons, especially, you're like you'll watch in the commentators, and they're like, well, we don't really know if like, you know, he says that all the time.
Yeah.
So you don't know, you know. But I think it's, again, it's part of that strategy because everybody's listening. So it's like, okay, well, we're on to strategy F now.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Strategy,
like nobody knows what that
strategy,
is,
what the
right?
fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, everybody can hear your. I mean, I guess I understand. I don't know why. Like, I mean, maybe it's for communication. Like, oh yeah, Pierre crashed, so FYI, everybody should know that. I don't know what the reason is behind like why everybody should hear that everybody else's radio chatter. I kind of think it's kind of lame, but at the same time, I mean, I get the mental side of it.
Yeah.
Or the games it does play, because obviously you'll hear like, "Oh, you're gonna box," and it's code for "you're not gonna box," and
Right.
then Ferrari pulls in and
Because they
Max
think
keeps
you're
going.
boxing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's interesting to see kind of all of those different strategies when you're in the middle of the race. And I mean, look at Ferrari this year, how many just devastating like failures they had based off of strategy.
yeah, they need to fire the strategy
Oh
guy.
my gosh.
Like, it was rough. I mean, maybe that's Benito. That's why Benito's retiring.
I mean, I don't think he's a strategist, but it all starts with him, right? He's the boss. He's gotta take everything over, right? So who do you think is gonna take his spot?
I know there's been some. Obviously, I sent you a couple like trolling accounts, but I don't know. I mean, it would be wicked to see Vettel step into that role because he obviously has all those years with.
Yeah,
I don't know if that would happen. I think I did see a comment. Somebody said that he would be a good leadership role. No audio.
I believe that.
It's like, why is there no audio?
Probably because somebody called you.
Yeah, somebody called me and ruined it. Can you hear me? Give me a wave or something if there's no audio. I could fire it back up if I need
technology.
to. Yeah, technology. There's too much shit going on.
Kids these days can't just do one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Ferrari will be a good thing, a weird thing to watch unfold.
Yeah, I saw it in an article. I'd have to pull it up. I forget who they were talking about coming in. Somebody was coming in. Potential. I don't know. Nothing's locked in yet, so we don't really know. I'm excited to see Nick DeVries. Do you know much about him?
Minimally, and then I know he drove a little bit this year.
So he won the Formula E,
right?
And I think I don't know if he won this year because I think he was a reserve driver this year. I know he's been a reserve driver for Mercedes,
right? And then he filled in a couple times. Remember, he had that like legendary drive, and he's like, "Dude, I can't feel my shoulders."
When was that?
When was it? It was. What's it? It wasn't the desert race. When?
Yeah, but he didn't fill in for a Mercedes that time, did he? Was he? So
he filled in for like 4 teams this year.
That's true.
I'm gonna fire it. I'm gonna end this.
Okay. So Nick DeVries, he's gonna be joining AlphaTauri because Pierre Gasly is moving over to Alpine. I'm really excited just to see, because Formula E it's so different, right? It's the same, but it's different. It's all electric,
right?
And although I think, great for the environment, if it's really great for the environment, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that we could dive down.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that.
We could totally dive.
Next episode, I'll be wearing my tinfoil hat. No, but like, hey, I'm such a petrol head. I love that sound of the engine. I love, the
for sure,
right? Like, I don't know, something about watching race cars that are just like.
Yeah, I mean, you grow up
different.
You grow up, your dad or your grandpa, whoever built cars, right? And you're just used to hearing that. And there's something about whether it's a dirt bike, it's a car, a street bike, fill in the blank. Okay, cool.
I love the smell of like gas.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm not huffing it or anything like that, but I just like, you're working on, especially like riding dirt bikes. That was like my first passion when I was a kid. Like, loved it. And so just, I don't know, it's something about like, there's always gas that spills on the tank, right? And then it gets on your clothes and like, I don't know, just a faint smell of gas for whatever reason. I'm like, oh, it just reminds me of just like all this fun time, all this racing, I don't know.
There's something about like regular, just you're pumping 87, 91, whatever it is. If you have a race car, you're pumping in 91 or 100 octane, right? And then if you're racing bikes, you're normally running 91 or even race gas. And there's something just about you crack open, whether it's VP or whatever you grew up running, you crack open that cap and you smell it, just it fills the whole garage, and you're just like, oh god, this. Or you're at Supercross and the stadium's starting to fill up with the first qualifying practice and everything, just you smell the gas and you're like, this is like glorious.
It's like go time, man.
Yeah, you get amped up from it. It's like a hot, like a sick car that's just ripping, whether it's a track, it's a drag, they're doing street racing, you hear the gas because they're boosted and all that. It's just great, a great smell. If you don't like smelling gas, we can't be friends.
Don't huff it.
Yeah.
We don't, to be clear, we don't advise anybody to
spill gas
go smelling gas. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
We're going to go smell later. Okay, who else? Ricardo, man. Ricardo's out, dude. I'm bummed because I didn't know him until the first season of Drive to Survive.
Right.
Obviously they follow him really, really heavily. And I think they paint him in a really good light, but I think he's kind of filled that, like he's obviously stepped into that role no matter what. Like outside of that, like it's clear now that I follow him on social media and things, like he's just a really cool dude.
Yeah, and I'm naturally like attracted to his persona too, because he's into the motocross scene. He's friends with like a lot of motocross guys. A lot of motocross guys support him. Obviously seen his success at Red Bull, you think he's going to go, okay, cool. And then you see him go to Renault and you're like, what the hell are you doing? And then he had success at Renault, and then you're like, cool. And now he's in a factory car. He's in like an elite team. He's going to do good, which he had a couple good shining moments. But other than that, like what happened, it's obviously sad to see. I think he's just got a great personality, and I just think he lost his mojo or of some kind. I think if he gets back in the Red Bull, I did think about his comments though, like when he was talking about Lando and how he's like, I'm not trying to dock Lando, but he's only been in this car, so that's all he knows, right? And I kind of almost wonder if Daniel has the same thing with Red Bull. Like Daniel had so much success at Red Bull that he went to another car, and maybe he did it to try to test himself and see, okay, can I be good in another car? I don't know.
I think Red Bull screwed him.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, 100%. And it's clear, like, whether it was talked up or not in the show and like dramatized, but I think it was clear from like the very beginning that like Max was their kid, and like they're going to build the whole team around him. And which I mean, I'm not a huge Max fan, not just because I love Lewis, but like I watch all the practices. I fucking listen to all the shit, and he's like the one guy that just drives me, because it's kind of like this expectation. Like, I don't know. In my opinion, he just seems like he's better than everybody else. This was even before he won a world championship, right? I was really hoping actually last year, early on last year, before all the drama with Lewis started happening, I was watching practices and I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I think he's matured a lot. I really think he's changed. And then all the shit with Lewis, and I was like, oh, fucking hell no. Like every ounce of like little like redemption that I had is just like gone. I'm like, no. And so, you know, I will say I think he's a phenomenal driver. Fucking good, man. Like it's good, especially this season. Like he deserved to win. Like,
in a league of his own this year.
And,
for sure.
And I'll even say, like, I'll always stand up for Lewis and, you know, the 2021 season, but I don't think that Max deserved not to win. You know what I mean? Like, I think overall I would pick Lewis just based off of the FIA fucking up, right? And all of that protocol. But I think Max equally drove really, really well. That's why he was also
tied for points going
to
the last round.
So I don't think taking that, you know, I don't think he doesn't deserve it, but I think Lewis should have been the champ, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get like I do get both sides, as much as like I'm not a fan of Lewis. I do get both sides. Personally, I want to see it's a race. I want to see it end in a race, right? And what they did, like I'm like, well, I'm not mad at the FIA personally, because I think it should end in a race. The caveat that, like, obviously some rules are pushed, and
Yeah.
and there's an all interpretation, which I could get on a whole tangent of the FIA because I hate the FIA, and I think they're so inconsistent.
Well, I think that's it, right? Like, and I'm again biased, so I feel like the FIA has been more in Red Bull's pocket and Horner's pocket and making a lot more decisions that have affected them in good ways and kind of screwed Lewis, right? That's my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely think, I can't think offhand, but I remember there were sometimes like Max or Red Bull in general got a penalty, and that I felt like should have went towards Mercedes, and vice versa. I think they both kind of like, they were like, okay, like this week we have to be biased towards Mercedes, and this week we have to be biased.
It's almost like, oh, we fucked up last week, so we got to make up to it by like.
Yeah, and you're like, dude, no, just keep it calling it straight. And then even this year, after all these new rules and everything, I did not like how they handled, like, I think Pierre or Ricardo? I think it was Ricardo in the Yuki situation, how they gave at Mexico when he dove inside Yuki.
Oh,
there was room there. I mean, it's racing. There's gonna be a little bit of contact, right? Like, in coming from motocross, there's gonna be some rubbing. Rubbing's racing.
Yeah, but you don't even get penalized in motocross, right?
You do if you do it bad enough. But I mean, lately it's been just.
It's been a while since I followed, but I used to follow all the time because that was my first passion,
right?
Was motocross, and so I used to follow like Jeremy McGrath was my guy back then, right? And I loved like Ricky Carmichael.
Got a fun fact for you about him.
Oh yeah, good or bad? Like he's not gonna be your hero anymore.
No. My mom actually dated him for a while.
Sick.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was it.
Get him on the podcast.
I don't know him that well. But
dude, I would be like, hey, you're my stepdad. We're now best friends. That's what I did with Tristan. He's actually my neighbor. Yeah. Like, oh, you got a boat. You like to wakeboard. Me too. Oh, well, you don't know this, but we're best friends.
Hey,
you're now my best friend.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you like F1? Cool. Let's form a pod.
Dumb it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's run it. Definitely. Other notable things, right? Fernando to Aston Martin, De Vries, Nico's back. Hulkenberg.
Oh yeah, Hulkenberg,
as Daniel would say. Hulkenberg. I love Daniel's impersonations of everybody's names.
We could start doing some. Who's that guy, that comedian that does all the
Connor sketches?
I think so. Yeah.
He's funny.
I love his Carlos Sainz.
It's so good.
But all of them are good. He's great.
Carlos Sainz is really good. Dude, Tiger Woods impersonation is great too.
Is it?
Yeah, it's insane.
I have to check it. So yeah, Nico Hulkenberg, right? I guess his big thing is he won world championship as Lewis's teammate, right?
No, that was Nico Rosberg. Come on, Mercedes guy. Goodness gracious.
It was a little, I wasn't,
No, I mean, it's Rosberg, Hulkenberg, it's all real.
Actually, I like Nico Hulkenberg. I like him.
I'd love him in K-Mag's drama. It's great.
Oh, do they have drama?
Yeah, they have beef. I forgot what race it was. They were teammates at one point.
Well, they're going to be teammates now then.
I'll have to find the clip and I'll send it to you. But there's a clip and K-Mag's in an interview. And Nico walks up and he's like, "Oh, you're a real great teammate, bro," or something like that. And he goes, "Suck my balls, mate." In mid interview, or he goes, "Suck my dick," or something like that. In mid interview.
Prøver på udebane.
Once again, most unsportive driver of the grid.
Suck my balls, mate.
Yeah, you're really good, man. Keep going.
Doesn't give a shit. So that's why I love K-Mag. K-Mag's just like, fuck everybody. I don't care. Do what I want. His pole position this year was pretty rad too. Yeah. I mean, I know it was only for the sprint race, but I think that was huge for Haas. Big.
Oh, dude, that was huge. And I like him, man. I like him. I think he outdrove this season way better than the past seasons.
For sure.
Hands down, it was like, oh, dude, I'm glad you're back.
I think the new car helped too. Like it made everybody a lot closer.
100%. All of the new regulations, I think, were really, really good overall for sure. I'm bummed to see like Mick Schumacher out. I'm hoping he'll make a comeback. I don't think that he did that bad, right? Like
definitely improved.
Not like Mazepin,
Oh Jesus. I would take him and Latifi. Mazepin and Latifi are like on the same level. Just why the hell are you here?
So was Latifi good at some point?
I feel like
did he win F2 or anything like that?
I don't know his history.
Yeah,
I know he's Canadian. So that explains a lot.
I mean, we already talked to like it is it's like a billionaires club, right? Like, I mean, if you got money and you obviously dude, I mean, hands down, like you can't be a shitty driver, right. But we're comparing them to the best of the best, right? Somebody put me in a car. I want to see what I can do.
Right. We could play the F1 game, man. I can throw just as fast a laps as them on the F1 game. I might destroy the car in 5 laps. But
Yeah.
that's the
Like,
point.
oh no, my body can handle 6 Gs.
Right.
Fighter pilot.
I think Latifi's agent or whoever he goes with just negotiated him a great deal to keep him
Yeah.
around so long. But at the same time, Daniel had a deal for like 3 years and he got shit canned after year 1.
Yeah.
So I don't know if just Williams is too nice and they're just not that like, hey, you're not performing, or maybe they just know like, hey, we're not a top team, so we're gonna keep this guy.
Yeah,
which I think he caused more damage than he was worth because he was crashing like
He was
every
crashing
other
a lot.
race.
And I mean, really, if we think about it, he was the reason why Lewis lost last season.
He was. That's your boy, man. You and Latifi, man. Those are you guys your boys.
No,
If anything,
no.
I paid him. Jokes out, guys. I
He's
paid
Max's,
Latifi.
he's Max's boy.
Right.
Horner's gone a little. Hey,
This guy wants to
hey,
keep
now's
up.
the time. Crash that thing.
There's a guy in motocross that does that. He'll be like, hey, I'll give you $5,000 if you go take this guy out. There's a guy known for that. And it just, oh God, it drives me nuts. I'm like, why are you here? Like,
That's scary too, right? Especially like, I mean, people get really fucked up, bad injuries.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah.
What else
So
here?
Oscar Piastri.
Yes. Did he
Right.
drive it all this year?
No, so he
Got it.
is taking Ricardo's spot at
Yes.
McLaren,
Yes.
right? They had the big drama with Alpine because he's actually an
Yeah.
Alpine school, right?
Right.
Like driver.
Right.
And they were throwing him in, like they sent out a press release
Yep.
and they were saying, hey, like this is our guy next year. He's taking Fernando Alonso's spot when he's moving.
And he's like,
Um,
whoa, 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 whoa.
And and he's like, oh wait, like back up, like this isn't actually happening. So it sounds like he had a contract already with McLaren before that statement ever came out.
Yeah.
He just never let Alpine know. He was kind of sneaking through the back door around that.
And I think that's actually kind of hilarious.
Yeah,
and
I
I loved watching. I'm not a huge fan of Alpine. I know it's the old rental team, right? So
yeah. But with a new, like the team principal was different.
It's the Ottman, is that his name? The dude with the white hair? Like gray white hair?
Yeah.
You guys have the same hair, but
yeah, like me.
His
is natural.
older. Yeah, no, his is natural.
He's a couple years older than me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like he's not like
he
a really
doesn't-
good. Like, I mean, not saying he's not a good principal, but it's just like, he's just like whatever. He's not a good personality.
He's not he's not one of those controversial figures, right?
Yes.
He's not like the Horner or the Wolf where they're like
hate each other or hate like you have a
and like maybe if Alpine was fighting for the championship, then but he just seems really mellow. Like I don't have anything bad to say about him.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem as passionate, I guess, as some of the other ones.
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean we'll see. I think we kind of covered everyone, bro.
What about just throw that in there for fun fact? Ocon and Alonso trying to kill each other half the year.
You know what? So I told you there's 2 drivers I'm not a huge fan
Either of them.
No, Max.
Right. Okay.
Right, Max and Fernando Alonso.
Okay.
And he like I'm trying to check myself on this because I'm like, do I not like Fernando because he also has beef with Lewis? It's like, is that the reason? I don't think so. He just seems like a fucking self-righteous prick.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple guys that won titles out there that I think won when maybe there wasn't a lot of people there, or is like that kind of in between phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know because I wasn't watching it back in 08 or whatever. But like Fernando maybe would have been one of those guys like he won and there wasn't any other big names there, or something happened, or it was
I don't really know. I mean, he won twice, right? So
does he have 2 titles?
I'm pretty sure he's got 2 titles. I don't think he's a bad driver. I just think he thinks that he's better than he is now, right? Like maybe it's also hard. Like everybody talks about like, well, you have to think you're gonna win, right? Like, and I work with athletes. Like you have to think you're gonna win,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
But you also there's such thing as hubris,
right?
It's like, well,
like you got to know Haas ain't winning. Like you got to know going into it that
like you may have like everything might line up and things are great and boom, like you get a win, right? You're not like winning the championship.
Yeah, I mean, or you got to shoot like, okay, cool. I think this car can be a top 10 car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're not in top 10, then that's like another story. And that could go for like back to like the Williams stuff and Haas and What's that other? There's like another shitty team.
Alpha
Romeo.
Alfa Romeo, yeah.
And so like you got to know, like, hey, like we're not gonna always win.
Yeah.
We're not gonna always.
Oh, so speaking of Alfa Romeo, so I believe they're the ones that are changing to Audi in 2025.
Oh, they are.
I
That
think so.
could make it interesting.
And I just saw that livery got put on the F1 game, and it's fucking sick.
I'll have to check that out.
It's so sick. So we're gonna have to. We should just do like a live stream race.
Definitely.
And we'll fucking like throw the recording up.
Yeah. And then when I stream on Twitch, it plays directly through my PlayStation. So like I have a camera on me too.
Yeah.
And so we could see it. Well, I can include the audio and stuff like that.
That'd be fun.
So
I think that's gotta be like this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. We could definitely make that happen. What else? I said I wanted to save something for the end.
Some type of Q&A from Marry Fuck Kill.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do Marry Fuck Kill. I need to pull up the F1 guys.
So we should probably talk. I guess this would be a perfect time to just pull up the whole lineup, right?
Yeah.
And then we can. So you get to pick mine, and I get to pick yours.
Oh, I got it. What?
Yeah. Right. So you only get three. You get 3 chances.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pick 3 that you get to pick from.
Yeah. So I pick
3 that I get to pick.
From. Yeah. So you pick hypothetically Lewis, George, Max. And
right. Right.
And then I pick from I Marry Fuck Kill from those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want a list of people to look at so you can be refreshed on their faces?
Yes.
It's the Reddit page. Is this last year?
I'm very visual.
I think this is last year. Yeah, this is last year.
Yeah,
because it had Mad
McMahon. Yeah.
Do we not know who's the Alfa Romeo next year? Is Wayne Joe or Joe? Is he staying?
Joe Guan Yu?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there's a thing that says
him and Valtteri.
Okay, there's a thing that shows him on this one. I'm not sure. This might have been old though.
Huh. Well, yeah. Let's see. Because Williams has already been confirmed to Albon and
Logan.
Yep, Logan Sargent.
Nico Hulkenberg is at Haas. Alpine is Pierre and Ocon. So then the only one on this is Joe. Okay, cool. So from the list, give it to me.
Oh yeah, well, because Gasly's actually going to be at Alpine.
Yeah.
And then
the rest, right?
Piastri is going to be.
No, Piastri's at.
Oh yeah, it's McLaren.
Yeah.
Oh, he's up there. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, De Vries, you're right. Okay, am I going or are you going?
You pick or
I'll pick 3 for you.
Yeah, pick 3 for me and I go.
Okay. I'm gonna go Charles. God, this is hard. Okay. Charles, Lando, and Max.
I was not expecting that. So Charles, Lando, Max.
Yeah.
Probably marry Lando.
You love Lando.
I love Lando. I mean, who doesn't love Lando? He's a great gamer. He's a good looking guy. So, whatever. I'm not giving all my reasons for him. Probably fuck Charles and kill Max.
Redemption. We can do an episode 2.
Yeah, we could. Well,
romance continues.
Yes. Okay, let's do.
Charles, he's handsome.
Yeah, I mean,
you did say marry Lando, right?
Yeah, I said marry.
You just want to spend forever with.
Yes, Lando. I would. He's making shitloads of money. Lives in Monaco. What could
does he live?
And he's a DJ.
He lives in Monaco.
Yeah, I'm pissed that he could retire today and go DJ any club he wants, but I'm not allowed to do that. So I'm pissed. Let's go with.
You're gonna have this awesome YouTube channel.
Yeah, I get an awesome YouTube channel that I'm sure he has a big following YouTube, Twitch, all the above.
Just be happy.
Let's do Signs.
Okay.
Yuki.
Okay.
And Bottas.
God, I gave you like all these top,
Oh come on! I
gave you all the reserve. I was all the backups. Okay.
I was gonna give you Lewis. I knew where that was gonna be. So
I don't know, man. Do I want to fuck Lewis? Do I want to marry him? Okay. Anything.
Hot takes.
Neither. Okay. Signs.
Mm-hmm.
Bottas.
And Yuki. Do you know how many girls want signs? Like half the girls I talk to that watch F1, which is like 4, but half the girls I talk to want to bang the shit out of signs.
So I should fuck him?
I don't know. I don't know what you
Okay,
should do.
let's see. You know, I think that mustache has got me, you know.
Yes. Valtteri's new swag.
Valtteri's
The
new
mullet.
mustache.
The
Oh
mullet
yeah,
was the-
he's like all Aussied out now.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna fuck Valtteri.
Okay.
Yep. I'm gonna marry Signs. And I'm sorry, Yuki.
You can't deal with his anger.
Yuki.
His
Yeah,
anger.
that's right. If I kill him first, he's definitely killing me. So sorry, buddy.
All right.
There we go. I think that's a wrap.
Live from the paddock. Thank you guys so
All right,
much.
thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Comment. Let us know what you guys want to hear our point of view on, questions. We want to get this really interactive, you know, so we can keep shooting this channel.
Should we keep doing Twitch as well on the side? Let us know. You can Instagram us too. Tristan Nelson 215.
Derek Hutchins.
I don't have Twitter anymore, so don't
We'll
use,
link
well,
up.
I have it,
We'll
but
link
don't do that. So yeah, thanks so much. Have a great night,
Awesome.
and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, y'all.